the Louisville and Kentucky rivalry, going outside of Rupp in the Yum Center over to the football world. Associate head coach Vince Marrow has left Kentucky for Louisville, who will now take the general manager job for Louisville football. I think his actual title is the head of player personnel for football at Louisville. Now, kind of to put this into a little bit of perspective here. Vince has a very, very great reputation for being a great recruiter, a great coach. Like, I think he's a name that gets brought up a lot of times in the cycle. Riley, I know you mentioned it that your UNC was actually after him, trying to get him on their staff. So, like, you ask around in the college football world, he's extremely well respected, and he's known as a really great recruiter and has got really great prospects over to Kentucky football. And he now leaves for, we can have a conversation on if it's better or if it's a downgrade as far as position or title, but he leaves to be the head of player personnel for Louisville. Riley, I will throw it to you first for what this means for you, but I will say that, as you just kind of look at it from the outside in, right? You have a associate head coach leaving to not be an associate head coach and go for a position, a player personnel position, general manager position at your rival. It's kind of a weird, bad look in it. Just looking at the reaction from a lot of Kentucky circles I'm in, they're acting like they're like he's the biggest traitor of all time. So Riley, I'll throw it to you for your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think you hit on it from the top. He's a big time recruiter. And even you said it, he was on my radar when Bill Belichick was trying to get him on his staff. So I think his reputation precedes him in terms of what he can do on the trail. I don't know how well known this is. He actually helped UK land Jasper Johnson in basketball. Like he's really, really good friends with Jasper Johnson's dad, who, played football at Kentucky.
Oh
So
yeah.
he was instrumental there as well. And so you see like the recruiting power that Vince Marrow has, not just on the gridiron, but on the hardwood as well. In terms of this job with leaving for Louisville, I know he's been tight with both Jeff and Brian Brome for a while. My guy Mike Rutherford, he's a great follow. He was hilarious to follow during the
My
Kenny.
Louisville guy.
Yeah, he was a dude. He was hilarious to follow during the Kenny Payne era, and for his sake, I'm glad that he like things are not as bleak as they once were. But on his side, on the Card Chronicle, here's a quote on what he said. He said, "It's not exactly been the best kept secret in the world that Marrow has been looking for a way out of Lexington for the last year or so, and that landing a position on Brown's staff was something that both sides were interested in." So it seems to be in Louisville circles that the Marrow and Mark Stoops marriage was heading toward an end. And I guess you could say that with like the Mark Stoops marriage to Kentucky in general. This could be Marrow getting out ahead before like I don't know what Stoops' buyout drops to after this year, but it seems very likely that John Summerall will eventually become the head coach there. And I think Kentucky would have moved on from Stoops this year if it wasn't for the buyout. So to me, it feels like a parachute move. Although at the same time, you could say maybe you get this job a year from now, and to give up an associate head coach position seems a little bit odd. But yeah, I think that gives a little credence or some the context there from Rutherford with saying that he's been looking for a way out of Lexington. The move makes a lot of sense, but it's obviously not going to soften the blow at all for Kentucky fans.
This video is brought to you by NBA2K Lab.com. 2K Lab worked with us last summer as well. They're one of our favorite entities in all of sports gaming. We want to show you their college basketball stadium locator challenge game. And I'm going to share a screen right now as we do this. South Carolina, bang. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. Next, North Carolina. Why are we only getting the Carolinas?
Please
Bang.
lock in.
St. John's, that's New York.
New York.
Bang.
Where's New Jersey?
We're on fire. Colorado. I actually don't know what state Colorado
is. It's in Colorado. There's a state of Colorado.
Is that this one?
It's to the right of Phoenix.
Anyway, you get the picture. This game's really fun. They've got more games as well, like Guess the NBA Player, Mystery Fantasy Draft, and more. Stay tuned for all of the college football content and games that they'll be putting together to help you get the best experience out of college football 26. Back to the video.
Yeah, and there's so many different reasons that people could maybe, like, to your point, this could be him just getting ahead of things and him just trying to kind of get ahead of this, get out of Dodge while he has a chance. To me, when I first saw this too, it's yet another power move, I think, by Louisville, which I think it's funny because in a lot of rivalries, it's you. I don't think you see, and I might be wrong here, two schools that are rivals that have the funding that these schools have. So it's like they could basically look at each other and say like you're poor back and forth basically, but they're both extremely rich. And for me, this seems like a move given the title that Louisville saw this little crack in the armor that he might want out, and they back up the Brinks truck. And they already had that relationship to Brom, like you said, and they said, all right, we got you. We got you financially compensated. We got you all. Things are great over here at Louisville, by the way. Y'all see what the basketball team is about to be. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get that funding for football. They had a good year in football last year. So yeah, I mean, this might just be a power move by Louisville, kind of noticing that this situation is going on. They say, yeah, we got money for you. We got way more money for you than what you got going over there, and you ain't got to work for Stoops.
And Rutherford made it sound like I was I was a little unsure trying to interpret this, but it sounded something to the extent of since it's not an official coaching position, maybe Louisville skirted Marrow's $1 million buyout too.
Hmm.
So there, does that mean like that doesn't mean that he's still getting paid by both Kentucky and Louisville now, though, does it? Because if
No,
so, he's okay.
I
That
don't
was
think.
that was the part where I was a little unclear, like how it factored into the salary situation. Regardless, I'm sure they're paying Merrill well to take on this position. Yeah, even though on the surface, I still kind of think being an associate head coach, you wonder if he's. I looked it up. He's 56 years old. Would guess he'll probably be doing this another decade or so. Like to me, it would seem like if you wanted to be a head coach, which I don't think he has been one at the college level. I believe he was coaching at a high school before he broke into the college ranks. That's the one setback that's like, is it tough to if he ever wanted to be a head coach transition back from the general manager position? But at the same time, if he's working with the Brahms, who he's been tight with forever, and can sort of fit into his strengths with recruiting and roster management and everything, it yeah seems like a great hire for Louisville.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we were able to like talk about this kind of like with all the details and things like that because I wanted to end it with this to the Louisville fans out there. First of all, hoop Mikel Brown season L's up. You know what I'm saying in hoop this year. We already know how rocking Riley. Y'all should just carry this as simple as it is. We took him. We took him. Like you can make yourself feel better. You can say that him and Stoops didn't get along, but what I did is I went. Cause I feel like they keep their Brinks truck at the Yum Center. Like I feel like Kelsey wants to keep it there. He said, "Go grab that, go back it up, go head down. I don't even know what the major road is to get to Lexington. They drive up that thing, back it up to Merrill's crib. Say, come on, bring it down here. Hop in. You can ride in the Brinks truck down here. We'll send the truck, the movie truck for your family, and come on down to our school." So you basically took the associate head coach from your rival, and there was nothing that your rival could do about that. That's got to feel good. You got to be able to hold that one and be like, that's a win for Louisville football, right?
And it appears like they would have driven down Highway 64 per some quick research.
You know what, Riley? That's exactly you're our highway guy. Now moving forward, thank you, and I appreciate that greatly. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of how this works out throughout the rest of the season. What effect it actually has. Like, is this actually something that's really going to shift? I guess. What happens, and obviously with a move like this, you mentioned the relationships that he has. The in-state recruiting battles between these two schools, I think, is going to shape out to be very interesting these next coming years. But congrats to Marrow on his payday and being able to be closer to Pat Kelsey. I could only wish.